Alright, I am going to start out today with a story. The story of the little mole who went in search of whodunit. Who did it? Who did what? This is by Werner Holsworth and Wolf Earlbrook, and it is awesome. Alright. The story of the little mole who went in search of whodunit by Werner Holsworth and Wolf Earlbrook. When little mole poked his head out of his mole hole one day to see if the sun was shining, something very strange happened. It was long and brown and looked a little bit like a hot dog. Worst of all, it landed right on top of little mole's whole head. "Who dared to drop that on my head?" shouted little mole angrily. But being nearsighted as he was, he couldn't see who done it. What is on his head? Little mole asked a pigeon who was just flying by, "Did you do this on my head?" "Me? No, not me," answered the pigeon. "I do mine like this." Splattery splosh, a wet white blotch landed right beside little mole, splattering his right leg. Then little mole asked a horse who was grazing in the field, "Did you do this on my head?" "Me? No," the horse answered. "I do mine like this." Bump, thud, 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 thump. 5 big, fat horse droppings thundered down, just missing little mole. Then little mole asked a hare who was happily munching a carrot, "Did you do this on my head?" "Me? No, not me," said the hare. "I do mine like this. Rat-a-tat-tam, 15 beans started flying." Little mole barely got out of the way. Then little mole asked a goat who was daydreaming, "Did you do this on my head?" "Me? No, not me," said the goat. "I do mine like this. Clackety, clackety, clack. Shiny brown lumps fell onto the grass." Little mole thought they looked a lot like his favorite caramels. Then little mole asked a cow who was chewing her cud, "Did you do this on my head?" "Me? Certainly not me," said the cow. "I do mine like this." Swashed up a big flat cow pie, splashed onto the ground. Little mole was glad that it wasn't his cow who done it on his head. Poor little mole. Then little mole asked a fat pink pig, "Did you do this on my head?" "Me, not me," answered the pig. "I do mine like this." Splidgety splodge, a soft brown smelly heap landed at his feet. Pee-hoo! Little mole had to hold his nose. Little mole looked around for another suspect, but all he saw were 2 fat flies, dining. At long last, little mole thought, "I bet they can help me. Can you tell who did this on my head?" asked little mole. "Keep still a second," buzzed the 2 flies, busily studying what was on top of little mole's head. A moment later, they shouted triumphantly, "No question about it. It was a dog." A dog? Of course. Now little mole was sure who done it on his head. Henry, that old hound dog. As quick as a flash, little mole climbed on top of Henry's doghouse. Pling! A little brown crescent landed slap dab in the middle of Henry's forehead. The deed done, a happy and satisfied little mole disappeared back into his mole hole. I like how little mole wears shoes. All right, that's the end. So that was a great book all about poop. Now you might be wondering, why are we talking about poop today? Poop is important. First off, you should probably call it Scat, S-C-A-T. When you're a naturalist, that's kind of the scientific word for poop. And why is poop important? Well, for one reason, it can tell us who was in the forest, who was in the prairie, who was down at the beach. We don't always see the animals around us, but they do leave clues and hints. And you can be a detective anytime you see some animal scat outside. So today I thought we'd do a little bit about animal scat. I am an expert with animal scat because when you have all these animals, you clean up animal poo every day and it stops being gross. You know, the more you learn about something, the more it's not gross anymore. Not saying I, use my bare hands to clean it up, but I'm saying it's not something that bothers me. And I do get pretty excited when I see scat out on the trail because it's always a nice little calling card of who was there. So let's take a look. I'm gonna quiz you guys, and you guys tell me if you can figure out who this scat was by. All right? It's fake, by the way. You thought I was holding real stuff. I know. No, it's fake. What do you think? If you guessed possum, you are right. Possum poo. Okay, let's see. Here's another one. Whose scat is that? Did you guess raccoon? Because then you'd be right. Oh, who else do we have here? What could this be? Any guesses? Did you guess bird? You'd be right. You know the white stuff in the bird's poo? You see a big splotch of bird poo on your car. The white stuff is the urea. It's like the pee, the urine. The black stuff or brown stuff or green stuff, that's the poo. That's the scat. That's the feces. Birds have a cloaca just like the reptiles, so it all comes out at once in one big splodge, and that's the two different colors. I bet you will never ever look at the splotch on your car again the same now. Okay? You can astound your family and friends with that trivia. This is one I see all the time in the forest. Now it can be a much bigger pile than this, but a bunch of little things right there. What do you think? What do you think? White-tailed deer. Lots of deer, lots of poo. How about this one? Kind of looks like my dog Cisco's. And actually they are closely related. Both canines. It is the red fox. Okay, now, these are kind of too hard to get out. Rabbit. A lot of little guys there. Same with this. This is actually not real poo or even fake poo. This is chocolate sprinkles from like a cupcake or something. But this really does look a lot like bat guano. Bat scat. All right. So, I hope you had a little fun with the scat today and Mole's big adventure. I guess keep loving nature. Go out and try to find some scat and identify it. Don't pick it up. Obviously, don't use your hands. Don't touch it. Poo can have bacteria in it, so we don't want to touch it. But be a detective. See what you can find. All right? Have fun.